Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Tuesday evening Facebook Live. My name is Sarah Edwards. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I come to you guys live every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 to show you a fun new project. So hopefully you guys have had a great day. I got so much accomplished. I feel like a new woman. It feels so good to get things checked off of your to-do list, even though I forget where I write my to-do list at, but my to-do list is up in my brain. So I was able to check off so many things. I am in a bit of a hot mess. My girlfriend Bev stopped by today unannounced, which is totally fine. Like, anybody can come over unannounced. But just know you might want to have your life insurance paid up, because walking into my craft room sometimes is a hot mess. And today it's a hot mess. But once you get in the mode of being able to get things done and accomplished, you don't want to stop and clean up what you're doing. You just move to a different spot of your table until your table is completely full, and then you have to clean up. And that's where I'm at right now. So tomorrow morning, before I go to work, it is all about tidying up because I got so much done today. So card class is completely prepped and ready to go for Saturday. I do have a couple extra spots, so if anybody would like it to go or to come to the in-person class, definitely let me know. I will be sending an email out tomorrow for the final email saying if you can make it or not. So you can definitely hit you'd like it to go or come to one of the classes. So good evening. Let's see, what else happened today? Just craziness. I think that was it. I got a lot done. Oh, I will be sending an email out. I'm going to try something a little bit different and new. It's a card kit. Instead of my class to go, I kind of renamed it and kind of redid a few things on it. So after the Facebook Live, I'm going to go in the house and finish up that email, and hopefully I'll get that out tonight. Actually, that's the last thing on my to-do list, is to get that out. So it will be done today, come hell or high water, or whatever the saying is. So if you're just logging on, say hi so I know you're here. So today's project actually came from Bev Smith. She sent me a message and asked if she could get the measurements and a tutorial on how to do a card that she got in the mail from me. And I was like, you know what, I actually haven't done one of those cards in a while, so why don't we just do it for a live? So that is what I am doing tonight. And usually this specific double Z-fold card has like the 3/8 and the 5/8 and the 9/16 cuts, and those don't make me happy. And I'm a firm believer in don't do anything that doesn't make you happy. So those do not make me happy. So I kind of recreated the same card, but I made it where it could be inches versus the 5/8 and the 9/16 and the 20/20, which confused the heck out of me. I can do it, but I don't like it, so I really try not to. So I did change it up a little bit, so hopefully you guys will be able to recreate this a little bit easier than having to do those special measurements. So, oh, good evening, you're on, Bev. Anytime. And if anybody has a card idea that they want me to do so they know the measurements and stuff, definitely send me a message and I will do my best to figure it out for you. Okay, let's point you over. So I don't have the original card that she sent me, but I kind of was able to create it with some of the items that I had in my craft room. And I brought in some of the new items that are in the occasion catalog. So the inked and titled stamp set, I'm going to be using this larger flower right here. And you can use any one of these sentiments. I did happy birthday because I always need happy birthday cards. And then I decided to bring in these nested essential dies. So yes, there is one missing from this little guy right here. He's really not missing. He's in a safe spot on my table. So tomorrow, once I clean up my table, I will definitely be able to find him. But I went ahead and used the largest and then the second largest of those two. And let me bring in, good evening, Monique and Marie Teresa, welcome. So let me bring in the catalog. So on page 95 of your occasions catalog, this is the inked and titled bundle. It does come with 2 punches that are super phenomenal. We're actually using this in card class on Saturday. And then the dies are right up in this corner, page 165. We're actually using this. I need to make sure to get it's not a class to go anymore. I'll think of it. I made a cute little name for it, and I can't remember. I need to put a little post-it note out here. But I am focusing on these dies for that class as well, and that's what I pulled in for today's card. So there's that. And speaking of catalogs, let me show you what I got in the mail. So this just came yesterday, and I did print it. And do you want to hear a completely funny story about me printing it? It printed 2 copies. So needless to say, I have almost 0 ink left. And I was just talking about that at the retreat, that I haven't had to replace the ink. But when you're printing 200 colored pages, it does seem to run out. But this is the new September through December 2023 Christmas holiday catalog. I can't show you the inside, but I will definitely be getting these in the mail as soon as I get them in. They should be in probably next week sometime, maybe a little bit after that. But they will be on their way shortly. Okay, so let's bring in the card we're going to be doing. So it is called a double Z card, a double Z fold. So you have your one Z here, and then you have your second Z there. So I made it a little bit different, but it's the same concept. So that is what I'm going to show you guys how to do. And we are going to do it from start to finish. So you're going to need your scoring tool. And if you don't have a scoring tool, I swear to you, this one by far is the best one I have ever used. It tucks up perfectly. It doesn't skip the score marks. It is amazing. So this is a piece of 8.5 by 11 Clipsal Coral. So I'm going to slide the 11-inch side up, tuck it up into the corner, and we're going to score this twice. We are going to score it at 4 1/4 and 6 1/2. So those are your only 2 score marks. And then you're going to bring, that's all you need your scoring tool for. Now we're going to bring in our paper trimmer, and our first cut is going to be at the 5.5-inch mark. So now how we scored it on the 11-inch side, we're going to rotate it so the 8.5-inch side is up top, and I'm going to cut this at 5.5. There we go. So now this is going to be our card base, and this we're going to use as well. But one more cut we need to do on here is you have your 2 score lines, one here, one on this side. So we are going to take and we're going to cut this at 8 3/4. So now you're left with a piece that's 5.5 by 8 3/4. So when we go to fold this, that is how we're going to get our double Z fold without having those extra 5/8 and 9/16 marks. These are definitely 2 1/4 inch panels. So hopefully that makes sense. This piece that we cut off, we're not going to use, but I want to cut this one more time. So we're going to take this and I'm going to slide it in, and I'm going to cut it at 1 1/4 inches. And that is going to be our double Z. We're not going to use that one. So these 2 pieces we're just going to disregard, and we're going to keep these 2 pieces. So now let's cut the designer series paper. I did bring another piece of cardstock over, so if you guys want me to do that again, I totally will. So here's a piece of 6 by 6. Now don't mind my the kindergarten drawing, but this is what I came up with. So our first cut is going to be 1 inch off the bottom, okay? So I'm going to slide this in, and I'm going to cut 1 inch off the bottom. We're going to set this aside because we will cut that again. So now let's bring our diagram back in, and we're going to cut these 2 pieces at 1 3/4. So there's 1 and 2. So these are going to be our 2 panels. And then we're left with this piece. And it actually lines up perfectly to right there. So we only need a 2 by 1 inch little square. So I'm just going to come in and cut 1 inch off. And then I'm just going to rotate it and cut that at 2. So now let's bring in our little diagram. So these pieces match perfectly, and we just have a little cut to do left on this piece. So this one I'm going to cut at 4 inches, and this is going to be our other 2-inch piece. So hopefully that makes sense. This is extra, so you can use it for something else. So it's kind of like a one-sheet wonder. We're not using the entire piece, but we're using quite a bit of it. So those are our designer series paper pieces. I won't go over all of the measurements because I don't want to confuse you guys, but you can definitely rewatch the video if you want to see it again. And I already pre-cut our Very Vanilla. So this is 4 by 5 1/4, just a normal standard. This is 2 by 5 1/4, and that's the same. So lots of pieces, but I swear to you, it's definitely worth it. Okay, so let's start by gluing all of our panels together. So I'm going to take our 1 3/4 inch strips and glue it down to our 2-inch. There's lots. There's this one. Good evening, Darlene. Welcome. So there's that. Those two are done. So I'm going to set these aside and bring in our card base. So you do want to take your bone folder and give that a good crease. And now we're just going to start layering our pieces on. So it definitely is an easy card once you have everything cut and ready to go. It just might take a hot minute to understand all of the score marks and cut marks and everything. Good evening, Mary. Welcome. So there's that one, and then our basic white, our Very Vanilla. I always use basic white. I hardly use Very Vanilla. It's going to go on this side. So now we have our first Z-fold. This panel right here is definitely optional. You don't have to put anything in there, but I just think it looked pretty, so that's why I did. It made me happy. So there is our first Z-fold. So now let's bring in the piece that we trimmed off, and you have already scored it in our 2 spots. And I did forget, we have to cut this at 8 3/4 also. I forgot that little piece of information. We need it. So now I have my 2 score marks on the right hand side and then my larger piece on the left. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our adhesive, we're going to put glue on this first small piece, and you don't have to tuck it up to the bottom. You can really put it wherever you want. So I'm just going to glue that down. Don't put glue on the entire thing because you won't be able to open your card. You see how I only put glue on that portion of it? And now we can close this and put glue right here. If the green glue is a little scary for you, because it can be, and I am going a little bit heavier than I would because this is what's holding the card shut. You can use a piece of tear tape. That would definitely work. So you're just going to give that a good hold, a good press, and that is going to create our double Z. So there's a few extra steps to these, but they are absolutely gorgeous. So now, I bet you guys already know, these pieces are going to go to cover up your banner. And you could flip them around, mix and match them if you want to. I did all mine the same designer series paper because I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just going to put this piece here. Not that the other side isn't gorgeous. I should rephrase that. But I think everybody knows what I mean. That's going to go there. And this one is going to go here. There we go. that is your double Z fold. Now decorating it is really up to you. You don't have to do anything super fancy. You could just put a sentiment maybe right here and then have a place to write your words and stuff. I went ahead and just decorated the front of it. So I do have those essential dies. I've already pre-cut them in Very Vanilla and Calypso Coral. So I'm going to ink up, make sure I'm in camera. So, oh, who is calling me? Likely scam, of course. So I'm going to ink up my Calypso Coral, and I should have brought a piece of paper. We're just going to use that scrap because I don't want to get my work surface messy. And I'm not going to go the whole way up. I'm just going to kind of maybe go a little bit more than halfway up, just because I want to make sure those flowers are in the center. And then bring in my happy birthday. There we go. Let's close that up. We're going to glue this together. And if you are going to decorate the front of it, there is one little key that I am going to give you guys. While that is drying, I'm going to bring in the card base. So you don't want to put dimensionals or anything on the entire back of this piece, because once you glue it down, you won't be able to open your card. So you definitely want to just stick to the left side. So what I did is I came in and I put a dimensional kind of in the center. And then I'm going to lay this over the top, and I kind of just want it to be centered. So I'm just centering this little bottom or that little top to my score marks. So now I'm going to flip it over and know that I just want to put some dimensionals on this side. And I probably am going to go a little overkill, but I'd rather my card not fall apart. So I'm going to put one in each of those corners and then come in and put one kind of in the center. And we already have this guy that's attached. So now I am just going to make sure it's centered, give that a good press, and voila. And you can see that none of the dimensionals are sticking out the back. So there we go. Last but not least, bring in some rhinestones, and I didn't have any Calypso Coral rhinestones, so I'm going to take my blender pens and color. So I decided today, while I was already in a giant mess, to dump out all of my gems and fumble through so I can get rid of some of my older gems. So these aren't older gems, but I found just half packs, quarter packs, 3 left in a pack in my little stash. So I am bound and determined to use them. There we go. Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Christina. So there's that. So do you guys want me to cut this, or do you guys want me to score and cut the cardstock again? I do have another one that we can put together if you just want me to put one together, but I did bring extra over just to go over it one more time, because I did kind of create this. I don't know if I created it. I probably shouldn't say that. But I guess I didn't look online to see if somebody created a different version, so they didn't have to use the 5/8 and 9/16 and all of that. Okay, so Marie says both. Perfect. We definitely have time to do both. Okay, so scoring tool. I'm using Calypso Coral. You can feel free to use whatever cardstock matches your designer series paper. We're going to slide this in at the 11-inch side. I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 and 6 1/2. So 4 1/4 and 6 1/2. Bring in your trimmer. Our first cut is going to be at 5 1/2. And remember, I'm cutting it at the 8 1/2-inch side at this point. I scored it at 11. I'm cutting on the 8 1/2. So I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to cut it at 8 3/4. We're not going to use this, so I'm going to get rid of it so we don't confuse ourselves. And then I'm going to bring this piece in, and I'm going to cut it at 1 1/4 inch. We don't need this piece. I'm going to set it aside so we don't get confused. And I'm going to rotate, and I'm going to cut this in 8 3/4 as well. I don't need this, getting rid of it. So here's our 1 Z fold, and this is makes our double Z fold. So let's do the cardstock, or the designer series paper. Let's bring in my little handy dandy kindergarten piece of scratch paper, but hey, it works. So if it's directional specific, make sure you're cutting it the direction it's supposed to. This one isn't, so I don't have to worry about it. So we're going to cut this at the 1 inch mark. We're going to use this, but I'm just going to set it aside. I'm going to rotate it, so now it's at 6 inches again. I'm going to cut it 1 3/4 and 1 3/4. So these are our 2 layering pieces. Hopefully this is still in camera, that you guys can see it. Now this piece, I'm just going to go ahead and rotate it and cut a 1 inch strip. This we're not going to need. I'm going to put it to the side. Now this piece, we need to trim it down to 2 inches. You're literally taking a 1/2 inch off, and we're not using that. So there's that piece. And then this is our first cut. I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. And that, my friends, is going to go here. And those are all the pieces you are going to need to put this card together. And remember, this is the piece that goes right here that we're not going to use. And if you want me to be funny, here's the little piece that goes there. So these are the only 2 pieces you're not going to use of your designer series paper. Everything else you will. So if we still have a couple minutes, so I will just go ahead and put these together a little bit. And if we don't get it all done in time, we don't get it all done in time. It's not tragic. So I'm going to fold in, not quite half, because you are going to have a little bit of gap. And I did that so we didn't have to have all of those funky measurements. But it will still fit in a normal envelope because it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it might look funky, and it definitely will look a little funky, but it will work. I would try it on copy paper. I always say you should, if you're trying something new, try it on copy paper first so you're not wasting the cardstock. I didn't take my own advice today, and it's only paper, so it's not even tragic, but I did not take my own advice. And I won't lie, I went through probably 4 or 5 sheets of paper because I couldn't get it right. And I knew I could, I just had to do the math in my head. So layering these guys together. And again, you don't have to do that center panel, but I just think if you're already going to put this much love into a card, might as well add a little extra love and do the center. There we go. So now we have this little guy. Oh no. Oh wait, I grabbed the wrong one. Okay, here's this little guy. So I am going to put adhesive just on this 2 1/4 inch strip, and that is going to get glued down to where you're going to write your sentiments. So this is 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. I glued down. This longer piece is what's going to fold backwards, slide this in, and we're going to glue this down. Okay, everybody has to be honest with me. Did I totally confuse you, or are you guys getting it? Like, I did an okay job explaining my madness. There we go. Let me go ahead and put some dimensionals on here, which my dimensionals were here 3 seconds ago. Where'd they go? Does anybody see them? What the heck? Okay, well, we might not be putting dimensionals on it. I'll glue all these pieces together. Maybe they'll fall out of the sky. Oh, good, Mary, you get it. Thank you. You know what? I would say rewatch the video 18 times if you have to. It is super easy once you get the hang of it. It's just going to be those first couple that probably are going to stump you a little bit. Good, thanks, Christine. You follow my madness. Not everybody gets my madness. Definitely a few of you do. Okay, so there's that. And I swear to you, my dimensionals were literally just here. I bet they got stuck underneath my trimmer or something. Well, snap, crackle. Oh, there they are. Okay, let's close this. I'm going to put a dimensional in the center. Peel that off just so I don't forget. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to slightly push these two down just a smidgen, just to give it a little bit extra hold. There's the box. I'm going to come in here, line this up. Oh, these are so stinking cute. Maybe this should be like a fun fold or a fancy fold class. It does take a lot of designer series paper, I won't lie. But it is definitely worth it. Or not designer series paper, cardstock. I won't lie, it is absolutely gorgeous. And you know what? It's just paper. And if you can put a smile on somebody's face and it just costs you some stamps, ink, and paper, do it. Absolutely do it. Happy birthday. There we go. Close up the ink so I don't forget. And let's glue this bad boy together and we are done. There's that. Let's bring in the rhinestones. My marker. I'm going to color 3 of them. Find my take your pick tool. There it is. I'll use the correct end to put these ones on. I realized it halfway through that I was using the wrong ends. There we go. All done. You don't have enough to do an envelope when you're cutting the designer series paper like this, but you could definitely just stamp the flower on your envelope if you wanted to. But there you go. There is your double Z fun fold without the funky measurements, right? I don't think I could have asked for anything better than not to have to tell you guys all of those wonky measurements. If they make my head hurt, they have to make other people's head hurt. And like I said in the beginning, if you don't love doing it, don't do it. And I don't love doing those, so I don't do them. So I will be determined to find a way not to do those. So if anybody has anything that has those measurements, let me know. I will figure it out and let you know if it's possible to do it without them. Anyway, if you need anything, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to head in and work on that email, so check your email hopefully within the hour. Hopefully it won't take me that much longer to work on it. And tomorrow I'll send a final RSVP for card class on Saturday, and they are amazing. They are so fun, so cute, and I cannot wait for you guys to make them. So I will see everybody on Thursday for another Facebook Live, and we will chat soon. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.